And we are with fellows all around the world. Reco12 podcast, recovery resources of people sharing their experience, strength, and hope across all fellowships, whether that be AA, NA, OA, Codependence Anonymous, sex and love addiction, and all fellowships. You're free to add to the list. I'm here today with Kirsty, and we're tackling what we call the Family Afterwards. We talk a little bit about parenting and recovery, and we're going through the full 12 steps. We too are mom daddies, and now that we're in the webinar format, we'd love to have daddy and mom.
Oh, Karen, we've lost you.
Mommies add their questions today. Step 5. If you're interested, go to Reco12.com. More like to pay your seventh tradition, a contribution to PayPal or Venmo. That helps us support these meetings, marketing costs, and all technology things. Without further ado, maybe I'll have Kirsty briefly introduce herself. And once you've given a little bit about your recovery bio, Kirsty.
Hi, guys. Kirsty, very, very grateful recovered addict. Recovered from that hopeless state of mind that kept leading me back to that first time I picked up that drug or drink. Addict and alcoholic. I have a home group in AA and a home group in CA. I have a sponsor that I speak to regular, especially regarding step 5, share with another person, that person being a big book person, someone that can help me see the truth. I absolutely love being part of all fellowships, and I'm very grateful to be here today. And thank you, Karen, for hosting the meeting. Thank you, everyone, for coming along and attending the meeting. And parenting alongside recovery, because recovery is just life. It's just me. We become one with God, and parenting is all part of that in all our activities. Yeah, sorry, Karen, you went off a little bit at the end, so I didn't get the next instruction. Do you just want me to introduce myself, or are we going straight into step 5? Do you want me to read the 5th step out of the book?
Yes, please.
Perfect. So, page 72 in the big book. Having made our personal inventory, what shall we do about it? We have been trying to get a new attitude, a new relationship with our Creator, and to discover the obstacles in our path. We had admitted certain defects. We had ascertained in a rough way what the trouble is. We had put our finger on the weak items in our personal inventory. Now these are about to be cast out. This requires action on our part when completed. Will mean that we have admitted to God, to ourselves, and to another human being the exact nature of our defects. This brings us to the 5th step in the program of recovery mentioned in the preceding chapter. This is perhaps difficult, especially discussing our defects with another person. We think we have done well enough in admitting these things to ourselves. There is doubt about that. In actual practice, we usually find a solitary self-appraisal insufficient. Many of us thought it necessary to go much further. We will be more inclined to discussing ourselves with another person when we see good reasons why we do so. The best reason first. If we skip this vital step, we may not overcome thinking. Time after time, newcomers have tried to keep themselves certain facts about their lives. Trying to avoid this humbling experience, they have returned to easier methods. Almost invariably, they got drunk. Having preserved with the rest of the program, they wondered why they fell. Why we think the reason is that they never completed their house cleaning. They took inventory all right, but hung on to some of the worst items in stock. They only thought they had lost their egoism and fear. They only thought they had humbled themselves. But they had not learned enough of humility, fearlessness, and honesty, in the sense that we find it necessary until they told someone else all their life story. More than most people, the alcoholic leads a double life. He is very much the actor. To the outer world, he presents his stage character. This is the one he likes his fellows to see. He wants to enjoy a certain reputation, but knows in his heart he doesn't deserve it. The inconsistency is made worse by the things he does on his sprees. Coming to his senses, he is revolted at certain episodes he vaguely remembers. These memories are a nightmare. He trembles to think someone might have observed him. As fast as he can, he pushes these memories far inside himself. He hopes they will never see the light of day. He is under constant fear and tension that makes for more drinking. Psychologists are inclined to agree with us. We have spent thousands of dollars for examinations. We know but few instances where we have given these doctors a fair break. We have seldom told them the whole truth, nor have we followed their advice. Unwilling to be honest with these sympathetic men, we were honest with no one else. Small wonder many in the medical profession have a low opinion of alcoholics and their chance for recovery. We must be entirely honest with somebody if we expect to live long or happily in this world. Rightly and naturally, we think well before we choose the person or persons whom we take this intimate, confidential step. Those of us belonging to denomination, sorry, apologies, which requires confession, must, of course, will want to go to the properly appointed authority whose duty it is to receive it. Though we have no religious connection, we may still do well to talk with someone ordained by established religion. We often find such a person quick to see and understand our problem. Of course, we sometimes encounter people who do not understand alcoholics. If we cannot or would rather not do this, we search our acquaintance for a closed-mouthed, understanding friend. Perhaps our doctor or psychologist will be the person. It may be one of our own family, but we cannot disclose anything to our wives, our parents, which will hurt them and make them unhappy. We have no right to save our own skin at another person's expense. Such parts of our story we tell to someone who will understand yet be unaffected. The rule is we must be hard on ourselves, but always considerate of others. Notwithstanding the great necessity for discussing ourselves with someone, it may be one is so situated that there is no suitable person available. If that is so, this step may be postponed. Only, however, if we hold ourselves in complete readiness to go through with it at the first opportunity.
Kirsty, there's so much in here.
Yeah.
I'm actually going to ask you to stop. I'm going to ask you to stop and share with us, go very back to the beginning of what you read of as a person who sponsors a lot of people approaching step 5, looking towards step 5. How did you prepare for step 5 when you were sponsored? How do you prepare your sponsees for step 5? And what are your thoughts on that?
Thank you, Karen. Kirsty, do you know, I'm just thinking back to my first, because I've done a couple of step 5s, and my first one, I was in a treatment centre, which was a 12-step centre, so I had a sponsor going through the 5th step with me, but I remember being very confused, and that wasn't, the person explaining it to me was doing a brilliant job, but it's so new. I've never done anything like this before, and I remember being scared and confused and not really getting the process. But I did it. I just did exactly what this person was telling me, because I could see in the eyes and the face that there was so much hope in this. And today, that's what I try and give my sponsees. Like, it's nothing to be scared of. I'm not going to judge anything I hear. No one in the fellowship that I have met is going to judge or it's a safe space to get rid of what's blocking me from this power. And I always try and explain the details in the first column are not what we're here for. What we're here for is what's blocking me from that power, to see where I'm to blame. I'm not saying everyone's to blame, but seeing what's blocking me. Sometimes it might just be not accepting a situation, holding on to something. But the only thing I can change, the only thing is me. And knowing that that's what my step 5 was about, and going through that process, I just try and do what was so freely done for me, assurance that we go through this. And I love the warning. Invariably, they got drunk. If I skip this vital step, it could mean to drink. Drink, think, use, act out. But to do that could mean to die. So it's not really a choice. And if I've got my solid step 3 and I've done my step 4, I'm just writing about that other person. I've been reborn. And it's just to clear that tunnel to this power, to get entirely ready for step 6, to find my defects, my blocks. And that's what this process means to myself.
Amazing. Yeah, we want to get people excited about clearing their blocks, what's blocking them off from the sunlight of the spirit, what's slowing them down from living in the 4th dimension. It happens to be the Passover holiday here, and people the world over, even non-Jews, are, looking at doing spring cleaning. And it's a time where, you could either view it as a drag, as a pain, or you could get really psyched up about decluttering. Like, I'm a lean, mean decluttering machine. Everything I haven't worn out, all those kitchen appliances, I have this tool that curls carrots like flowers. Now, I don't make a lot of veggie platters. That went out, right? All those things, those odds and ends, or as you guys say in the UK, Kirsty, bits and bobs that you don't need, out the door. They're in your way. They don't pay rent, but you do. And they don't give you mental clarity and freedom. We're decluttering all that garbage, all those clothes that don't fit you that you're waiting to put on when you diet. And once you do, they're not going to be in style anyway. Come on, clothes are so cheap these days. It's not like in the olden days where a garment, was sewn and cost a fortune, just whatever. You could buy something new at the discount store and look like $1 million. Anyway, we're taking inventory of the defects of our character. We're going through our moral and spiritual wardrobe, so to speak. What works, what doesn't work, or what's in style. It's definitely not in style for me to be angry anymore. It's definitely not hot for me to be insecure and feel sorry for myself. It don't look good. Just like that dress from 5 years ago. It don't look good for a person who is now embarked on living the spiritual life, right? We're taking inventory. Now, you do have to psych up, because like decluttering, it is overwhelming. You got to go through everything. You got to take out all the junk. For the stuff you want containers, like I want to be compassionate, but I shouldn't be compassionate to somebody who's being mean. Like, I need a container for that, when and how to use that, right? Love and tolerance is our code. We want to use the things we need, the things in our inventory that are helpful, only when they're helpful, because that's our new job. Anyway, I'm speaking kind of advanced big book lingo for those of us who this is a running part of their mind. And I see a lot of people who have been around, so you probably relate to what I'm saying. But going back to step 4, a lot of people relapse in step 4. A lot of people drop out in step 4 because it's onerous. One of the biggest gifts I was told by some of my OA sponsors 10 years ago was, the big book says we want to get an idea of our grosser handicaps. Gross means like average, more or less. We want to get a sense of like the main things that are in our way. We don't have to, find every last girl in the 8th grade who didn't invite us on a play date, or who snubbed us on the playground. It's okay. We want to get a sense. Or, another step 5 I did with the OA superstar, who's a big book maniac fiend. She just said to me, Listen, you just want to get the sense that you're totally arrogant and full of yourself. If you've gotten that, you've gotten your step 5. And about being afraid to talk about the rape, to talk about the abortion, to talk about the fact that you hit your kid. I like to tease my sponsors. Don't be such a show off. We're all messed up. We all have our resumes of trauma and drama. Get a grip. You're not all that. We're not all here, because we won an Oscar, an Academy Award. We're here because things are not pretty, right? We're talking about insanity or death. So, for those of you who are afraid, excuse me for the tough love, but, get a grip. Everyone in these rooms are highly messed up and have had highly checkered past. So don't think you're really going to say anything that's going to, bedazzle us or make us faint because, we've heard it. And to that point, we don't need to hear every last detail. My sponsor who was a slaw did not have to tell me about every last man, or I don't know what that she had exploits with. It's not helpful to me and it's not helpful to her. So we take people through the step 5. If they trust us now, if you're a good sponsor, you'll say, hey, I'm honored to do your step 5, but if you are not comfortable, I can continue taking you through the 12 steps and you could give your step 5 to someone else. Now, where is this relevant? Perhaps you're an AA in a town where, that's like a bit of a Peyton place. That's a throwback to a movie, I believe, from the 1960s. A town where everyone knows each other. Or I'm an Orthodox Jewish woman. I had an Orthodox Jewish sponsor, and we have laws of speech, forbidden speech. I didn't want her to hear me talking smack about all the bad things I did. So I went and found this, like I said, this killer OA sponsor. What was her name? Oh, Kim M or something. Kim from A Vision for You. And I just had her take my 5th step. Yeah. And that was it. She's like, can you just see you're arrogant? Can you see that it's all about you? Can you see? Anyway, I don't want to scare you all away. But again, if you're in a tight-knit community, you find someone like Kirsty just read, we read a lot. But to break it down, you could go to a rabbi, a priest, someone else. This was written at a time where there were less recovered people. No one asked me for my advice, but there are so many recovered people working a beautiful big book program. I actually would recommend you talk to one of them first because they will get you. You don't want someone not to get you. Again, like my slaw baby, who keeps talking to her rabbi about all her exploits. Like, I'm a believer. I also have rabbis, but only an addict well-versed in the 12 steps understands the mechanics of addiction, knows that the prognosis is insanity or death. Other people may or may not know that, although today religious leaders are well informed about opiates, narcotics, synthetic barbiturates, They're informed, but I would say today there are a lot of recovered people who could take your step 5. And, I want you all to view this as freedom. And for those of you who are sponsoring, and you better be on your way to sponsoring if you want to be recovered just for today, you want to market it like that, or you want to present it as such. This is freedom. You are going to get rid of a ton of junk. You're just going to clear out your garage. And you know what? It's never enough. I've just decluttered my house. I've given away like at least 10 garbage bags. And there is still a mess in my house. Kirsty, take it away. I want you to share on the next little bit.
Do you know which line I was just thinking of? And I love how you said freedom step. At the top of this page, I've got freedom step, not relapse. And it's so true. This is the step to freedom, isn't it? And when I mentioned being in treatment and doing the steps, when I come out, I got a sponsor who's still my sponsor today, and I love the lady very much. I really do. I'm so, so grateful to have her. And when I did my step 5 process with her, I felt so safe, and I felt like I come out of it with a different set of eyes. I went through the process with her and come out seeing everything so different. And it brings me to this line. We have been trying to get a new attitude, a new relationship with our Creator. And that's truly what my step 5 give me, a new attitude. But my aim here, I'm getting a new relationship with our Creator. So I see step 5 today as like, we're sitting there and we're having this conversation, we're talking to God, getting into that practice of talking to God. If I was building a new relationship with somebody in my life, I would share things with them. I would let them get to know me. That's how a relationship is binded. So that step 5, that's the start of a beautiful relationship with my new creator, where I'm going to say, God, this is all of me. And there's certain things that are blocking me from God that I need to know what they are, to ask for God's help to take them away from me. And I love, we didn't get up to this bit in the book when I was reading, but the step 5 promises. We get some amazing, beautiful promises from taking this step. We pocket our pride and go to it, illuminating every twist of character, every dark cranny of the past. Once we have taken this step, withholding nothing, we are delighted. So here's what we get. We can look the world in the eye. We can be alone at perfect peace and ease. I didn't think that was possible. Like today, I can sit alone, perfect peace and ease. Like my life is so peaceful. Like this is what I get from this process. Our fears fall from us. We begin to feel the nearness of our creator. And that nearness is built up for myself from doing that step 5, from having that conversation with God. That other person is there to support and help me see the bits that I can't see the truth. But my conversation in my step 5 is with God. God's invited into that. We may have had certain spiritual beliefs, but now we begin to have a spiritual experience. And this is truly where my awakening began, where my program felt like I had God there. That feeling that the drink problem has disappeared will often come strongly. And that's a promise again, will often come strongly. And for myself, and I don't say this to be like cocky or like, this is just my truth, I have never had a thought to use drugs since the day I did my step 5 in my treatment centre, when I wasn't even that sure what the process was. I've had the odd fleeting thought to have a drink, but I've worked my program to that. But I've never had an obsession to drink or drug like a normal person. That promise truly come true for me. And that is a miracle on its own. If no other promise in this book come true, that would have been enough. But what I got was so much more. We feel we are on the broad highway, walking hand in hand with the spirit of the universe, like hand in hand with God, safe and protected. Like the step 5 promises, I like to read with my sponsees before we do the process. Like, do you want this? Do you want to be able to look the world in the eye? Do you want to be able to sit alone at perfect peace and ease? Like everyone's like, yes, like, of course we want that. That is what's on offer. These promises come true. These promises will be in our life if we don't hold on to the worst items in stock, if we are entirely honest, if we do share this with God and a big book person. Well, I'm sorry, it says another person. For me, I like to do big book person, but that is just me. The book says all the other people we can do it with. Yeah, but if we're completely honest, if we skip this vital step, we may not overcome the drinking. Like, this is a vital part of our program. And like Karen said, to freedom. And I love this bit in the book as well. So if we do hold on to some of our worst items in stock, we've got a warning here. They only thought. So I might do this process and think, oh, I'm okay, I feel good. But I might only think that I've lost their egoism and fear. They only thought they had humbled themselves. Like, I feel like for me, that's a real warning. I need to be entirely honest. I need to do this to the best of my ability. I need to invite God into it. I need to be honest about what is blocking me from the power, about how I've shown up. Else I can only think that I've lost these things.
I love what you're saying. So what I want to say about what Kirsty said, and I is that when she says to her sponsees, do you want to be free? I just want to translate this into other fellowships. It's like, do you want to, as a codependent, never take on someone else's issues? Like that is a miracle that, my boss is freaking out at work and upset about other people not doing their job. But I don't step in and do it instead of them if it's not mine. I don't enable. What about, do you want to be free of not getting sucked in? Oh, here's a good one, mommies and daddies. When your teenager's in a bad mood, do you want to stop having that ruin your day? When your spouse, your significant other, your best friend is in a bad mood, do you want to have freedom for that controlling your day? These are tough ones. I'm a big fan of, what Nikki M says is that the people addictions are the hardest ones. They are. So those are hard. But then we have the promises, I'm not perfect. I have, issues regularly with kids, with coworkers. But the other day I had a coworker in a tizzy, upset, and actually they were acting really codependent. And I was just like, wow. Like, I have no desire to be a part of that. It's like falling off me like Teflon, like a Teflon pan, just sliding right off. We have been reborn. That is a new Karen. Okay. So our team in America is, being, funny, or coworkers being irresponsible. Okay. No, I will do my best and I will not do what's not my responsibility. And again, while I may have done that at work, as I'm saying it out to you guys, I'm like, oh, well, I need to do that at home, and all of us need to do that at home, right? Do I want to fully give it over, trust God, fully give over being controlling, stop nagging my 16-year-old to fold laundry, and trust that God will help me? Do I want to be free of that? Heck yeah. I only said her name 55 times yesterday. Hey, can you fold? Hey, can you fold? Hey, don't forget the laundry. Hey, reminder, the laundry. Hey, you want something to do? She's like, Mom, how do I lose 5 kilos? Well, I hear folding laundry is really good for that, only slightly controlling, right? So we ask people, do you want to be free? Okay. And for sponsors on the line, step 5 is really, sorry, I have to go off video. Step 5 is really an honor. It's an honor to take someone's step 5. It's an honor for to be the vessel, to be the vehicle to take someone's garbage away from them, to be the person who helps clear that out. Kirsty, will you speak about that? Being a step 5 sponsor, taking someone's sponsor, and the honor and the privilege that is?
Yes, definitely. Such an honor and a privilege. No one's ever trusted me with anything in my life like today. I'm trusted by others. And yeah, it's such an honor. And I love taking anyone through step 5. I love taking anyone through any of this work, because each time I have my own spiritual experience with my God, and I can see someone having their spiritual experience, and that is the bright spot of my life today. Like seeing other people form this relationship with God, and that somehow strengthens my relationship with God, because I bring God with me. We sit with God. And I love this bit in the book as well. Returning home, we find a place where we can be quiet for an hour, reviewing what we have done. We thank God from the bottom of our heart that we know him better. Like that hour of meditation and prayer to thank God who we've just shared our life with. Like that's such an important instruction in the book to do after our step 5. Step 5's a lot for some people. There's a lot to talk about, a lot to learn about myself. So having that hour at the end with the creator I'm creating this new relationship with, and I thank God from the bottom of our heart. Like, I get asked sometimes, like, what prayers do you do? How do you build this relationship? And my honest thing that's helped me the most with my relationship with God is saying things from my heart. Like, it's not so much the words, I don't just da da da, you know, not just doing it, like connecting from my heart. And it says there, from the bottom of our heart. And there was another part that comes to me when you were speaking, Karen. Fully understanding and approve what we are driving at, that he will not try to change our plan. So this is talking about the person we're doing it with. So me as a sponsor, that's all I'm there for, to understand what my sponsee is driving at, and that be recovery, to be recovered, to learn what's blocking them from the power, to be able to have this list of what's blocking them, to be able to work with God to remove that, to get them entirely ready to see from a different set of eyes than they saw previously. That's what we're driving at. So, you know, I'm not going to try and change the plan. I'm just there to support, you know, to be there, just to be there. And I love this. We are engaged upon a life and death errand. Like, as a sponsor, that's what we're engaged upon here. Life or death errand. Like, us all on this screen today as addicts, alcoholics, whatever fellowship we're in, we get that. We can engage upon life and death errands. We can be a part of saving lives. And I love how it says as well. Sorry, I'm really not well this morning, so I might be a little bit all over the place, guys, so I do apologise. We have no right to save our own skin at another person's expense. Such parts of our story we tell to someone who will understand yet be unaffected. And, you know, before doing this programme, I'd share parts of my step 5 with my children without even knowing. You know, today I don't tell people things in my life that are going to affect them. I see the world differently. I have people, big book people here that I can share my step 5 with. So I don't have to tell my mum about my kid being in trouble at school, that then she'll be worried for a week. So I don't tell people things they're going to be affected by. Like, I don't put that on people today through this beautiful process. The rule is we must be hard on ourselves, but always considerate of others.
I love what you just said. I didn't think about that piece, but we're not putting it on other people, you know. Like a friend of mine said, I think it was on one of the audio things that Young L posted, is like, we used to crowdsource our problem, you know. Oh, what do you think about me? What do you think about it? What do you think about this? What do you think about my relationships? Like, now we're taking it to a trusted person and to our higher power. We are not, you know, just shopping out our issues all over the place. We're not oversharing. We're getting appropriate, you know, because a lot of us, for whatever reason, began our addiction at a young age because of trauma. You know, the big book says it's because we were wired that way. That's how we were made. It's a gene inborn, you know, if you read the doctor's opinion, it's not because, you know, your daddy hit you, although that wouldn't help matters. We take things to the appropriate place. You know, the big book also talks about the properly appointed authority. See, I know when I'm wacko, I could talk to 5 friends, but I know that if I reach out to Kirsty, I will get back on track. You know, I know, sorry, my big book, you know, my step 5, which is, you know, later on repeated in step 10, 11, and 12. So those of you who have not been in step 5 are about to do another step 5. I want you to get real psyched about this. You're about to, you know, just lose 15 kilos or whatever. You're just about to drop a bunch of weight and stuff that is just harmful and definitely not helpful. And those of you who are taking people through step 5, you know, you want to get people through their step 4 swiftly. You know, we launch on a course of vigorous action. I mean, they get through that and then they give it over right away. We want to get them over, through that, across the edge. The big book says, you know, that we are seeing a lot of miracles before we're halfway through. So at this point, they're past the halfway mark. They should be seeing tons of miracles, starting to live in the promises. You want to get them over that edge, giving over their step 5 and reminding them that they're going to be reborn. Once they've put everything down on paper, it's step 4. It's step 5. They're a new person. They're just telling you about that old guy that they used to know, but it's no longer them. I love that Joseph O said that a few weeks ago. That guy is dead. They're talking about a dead guy, and now you're telling them, bury him and be the new person that they were reborn into. Kirsty?
Does anyone have any questions? Do we do questions at this time? Or
yeah, absolutely. We can put some questions in the chat. Absolutely.
Oh no, sorry, it's not a question. It was a page number. I thought it was a question. If anyone does have any questions around step 5, around parenting in recovery, please put them in the chat.
Well, I'm going to comment about what Kirsty just said. It kind of relates to what I said before. Step 5, the daily step 5 is, as a mother in recovery, like, I can't let myself get down. I can't get off my groove. And, when I lose it, when I yell, when I scream, when I act out in anger, I'm no longer in the 4th dimension. So I right away have to practice my daily step 5 of giving that over right away. I have to message a fellow saying, okay, where is I selfish, dishonest, self-seeking, and afraid? Boom, here it is. God, please remove these defects of character, replace them with their opposites, right? Selfishness, generosity, dishonesty, honesty, self-seeking, others focused, kind, fear, courage, bravery, and of course, love should always be in there. And then I immediately turn my thoughts to someone I could help. Immediately I'll, message some fellows. I'll reach out to my sponsee to see how she's doing. I'll respond to another person who may have reached out about sponsorship that I haven't spoken to. Yeah, thank you. We see you're at work. Thank you for joining us. If you want to type in a question, you could type in a question and we could answer it live. But yeah, this is my clear road to send. This is my clear cut spiritual toolkit. The minute I messed up, it happens. Trials and low spots ahead. The minute I mess up, I know. I get to another person I trust. I share with them whatever happened. I give it over. I, vow to do better. I make my amends, and then I look for someone I could help. Okay. You want to take a different piece of step 5, Kirsty? A different thing. We read a lot there. Maybe a different piece of what we read in that whole
yeah
bit.
And let me see what comes out to me. Carefully reading the first 5 proposals, because we didn't get to this bit. These are more instructions at the bottom of our step 5. So we return home, or we might already be at home, stay with all these Zoom screens. And we do an hour meditation with God, and then carefully reading the first 5 proposals. So that's my first 5 steps. We ask if we have omitted anything, for we are building an arch through which we shall walk a free man. So we don't want anything not okay at this point. We're building an arch to walk through free. So it gives us some instructions like, is our work solid so far? Is my work solid so far? Like, I've got to ask myself this, ask God this in the hour meditation. Are the stones properly in place? Them stones being 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, are they properly in place? Have we skimped on the cement put into our foundation? We're building an unshakable foundation for the start of the rest of our life, for our recovery. Have I skimped on anything? Have we tried to make mortar without sand? I didn't know what mortar was when I first read this, but you can't make mortar without sand. So have I missed anything? And then that's what we look at step 6 then. Are we entirely ready? Ask myself them questions, ask God them questions, talk with my sponsor about them questions. Are them step 5 promises coming true, showing up in my life today? Because I get promised them for this stage in my recovery. I've just seen, how much do you comment or give feedback or identify when you listen? Great question. Great question. I really like that question. So The only way I can explain it is I'm guessing we've got lots of parents on today. So I've got 2 children and I parent them both differently because they're both different. So every sponsee I've had has been different. Every step 5 I've done has been a different experience. And I bring God with me and I don't comment or I don't give my opinion ever. I don't give my opinion ever because my opinion is irrelevant, but I let God guide me. If I need to show someone, if I need to help someone, if I need to identify something with someone, then I do. But if I don't, I don't. And I trust that internal power that I've tapped into to guide me to do someone's step 5. And so I'm sorry if that doesn't sound like a great answer, but I can honestly say I've never had 2 step 5s that have been the same experience. And I go with the God consciousness that I've tapped into.
Yeah, I'm going to answer that as well. I love your answer. Such a beautiful, humble answer. So I do jump in because I find I have had sponsees get off track, talk a lot about their issues, stay in the problem, not in the solution. So I will remind them gently, I don't know if gently, but I will tell them, remember putting out of our mind the wrongs others have done. This is not about Jesse. This is not about Yossi. This is not about Rafaelo, and this is not about Maya, and this is not about your boss, and this is not about your mom. We got to get to your part. The only part you're talking about, but the other person, what they did is call them too, and you barely even have room to write a full sentence. So if you're talking more than a full sentence, you need to gently course correcting it. And I tell people, all I'm here to do is walk you through this big book. You have a lot of people who will be your friends. There are a lot of qualified therapists. I got a lot of things to do, but like Kirsty said before, this is a life or death proposition. I'm only here to take you through this workbook with the hopes of saving your life, because you raised your hand in the yes/no questions earlier in the workbook saying your life needs to be saved, or you are about to die, or you almost died. So I'm only here to walk you through this, i.e. to save your life. And if you want to save your life, we've got to get right out of column 2, because again, there's not enough room to write even a full sentence. So why do you hate mom? Because she was a workaholic and a career woman. Next. What does that affect? Etc. But we're always looking at my part. And the one thing I do comment about, which is great, is like, just recently, I'm working on step 4 with the sponsee, and she was saying, well, okay, well, today I could see my part, but what about when I was a child? A lot of people have abuse as children. There are people who are sponsored who were sold to sex slave trade and, sweatshops and stuff like that. So the resentment isn't over what happened. Again, what happened was wrong. The person who wronged you. They were perhaps spiritually sick. But the resentment happens afterwards. It's afterwards, that you're holding on to it. The sponsee is holding on to it. And 9 times out of 10, if not 10 times out of 10, is that their part is that they think it should be otherwise. They think they know how to run the world as opposed to God. They think they should know what happened, what shouldn't happen, how the script of their life. I'm supposed to be married. I'm not supposed to be alone. How many of us have that? I'm supposed to have a significant other. My kids are supposed to speak respectfully. So where the resentment comes in is those supposed tos. And that we think that, God may have just made a mistake today. Like that.
Yes, great answer, Karen. I do always try and guide through exactly how it is in the workbook. And at that point, if we was going off track, I would guide back to the track. Yeah, totally. And especially for people doing the first step 5, like I shared, when I did my first step 5, we don't always understand what the process is, do we? Because we're in that place of confusion. I've just seen another question. Let's read it out. I do think this has been so useful as someone who has not yet done step 5. You have made things clearer. There is an internal reckoning. Then we share that in a way that is both safe, i.e. confidential and liberating, i.e. truthful. I'm glad that it's been so useful, Tanya, and you shared that you've not yet done a step 5. If you haven't got a sponsor yet, please let us know and get this work done. These meetings are so great, but the solution is getting this relationship with the power, with God. You know, a sponsor can guide us through that to help us form this relationship. And as we've shared today, step 5 is a vital part in that. You might have a sponsor and be on earlier steps, but I'm just saying, if you don't have a sponsor, please stay on, let us know on the meeting. We can help you there, definitely. And step 5 is nothing to be worried about. Your steps to freedom, and so are all the steps.
It's a great thing. We encourage you to get a sponsor, get through them quickly. I don't know if you're able to type, have you started the steps? Are you in the middle of the steps? And don't be afraid, especially a lot of us are codependent and we're afraid of breaking up, quote unquote. It's not breaking up. If you're not getting through your steps quickly, it's like, if you go to the gas station and they put water in your gas tank, it's just not going to work. So you want to go to the next gas station. If you're working with a sponsor, they can only speak once every 5 months. You're not making headway, just switch. It's not a breakup. It's just not going to work. Just like water isn't going to work to power your gas tank to get your car going and revved up. Okay, so you want to get through your steps, and step 5 is awesome. It's really, really, really exciting. It's a real watershed moment in recovery. So just, get there. And after that, it's just amazing. We had a question from Lou, Kirsty.
Yes, could you both please comment about victimizing and resentfulness towards yourself for feeling victimized? Oh, interesting. Another good question. And I got told this and I remember being a bit, offended at the time, but it's so, so true. Victims don't get well. Victims don't get well, Kirsty. And I was like, what do you mean? But all I can change is me. All I can change is me, and all I can do is build a relationship with myself, with God. I can't change anything that's happened in the past, and I can't worry about the future. And for myself, I was resentful towards myself, and I did the work around it. Column 1, what am I resentful to? Me for being a victim. Why? What happened? Bullet points. This happened to me, and I'm so angry about it. 3, what's it affected? All the parts of self. It's affecting my security, my ambitions, my finances, my relationships. 4, where am I to blame? I've got to let it go. Acceptance, dishonesty. Dishonesty. Have I at some point in my past put myself in a situation to later be hurt? Am I being dishonest with myself? And this is just for me. This is my inventory. I'm not, but this is just an example on my inventory. I've got to, do I want to die? I have to look at my program like this. Do I want to die or do I want to live? Where am I to blame? Dishonesty, not letting go of it, lack of acceptance. What can I swap that for? Acceptance, trust in God, honesty with myself. Again, that's just for me, but whatever the resentment is, whether it be with myself or be with somebody else, I do the exact instructions in the big book and I get the exact promises. I hope that was a helpful answer. Karen, I don't know if you want to add to that answer.
I sure do. Sorry, I was just typing in the chat. Absolutely. Yeah. Victimizing, that's something I do on a regular basis. Let's see what you wrote here. Victimizing and resentfulness. Yeah, I'm a bad mother. I'm a bad person. I don't know how to be a friend. I don't know how to manage in relationships. A lot of us are stunted in our relationships. That right away. We'll go on my, step 10, 11, and 12, because that's a character defect. Victimization is one of my character defects. One of my traits as an untreated addict on my black resume, right? On my evil resume is when I'm in self-will. Oh, I'm a victim. Because what is a victim? My kids should be folding laundry. They are at the gym or with their friends, right? But at the bottom of that, at the bottom of everything is, I know better than higher power. I know how it should be. I know what this house should look like, as opposed to an acceptance like, okay, they're not here. Can I afford cleaning help? What can I do? Maybe I minimalize. Maybe I have less clothes, so they're less clothes to fold. I tell you guys, I threw out 12 trash bags. It doesn't go away. I have so much laundry to fold still. It just never ends. It's like,
Anyway, I digress. But yeah, victimization is often on my 10, 11, and 12. Poor me. I even hear it when I talk and I'm like, oh, well, yeah, maybe I asked you to fold laundry, but I did the shopping, the peeling, the chopping, the cooking, the cleaning. I work a full-time job and I raise you people. I wake you up and put you to sleep, which is exhausting in and of itself. If I had nothing else to do, just waking you all up and putting you all to sleep is a full-time job that, is hard. So, and I work a pretty intense job, and I live this lifestyle. So I sponsor people and I try and exercise. So yeah, a lot of times I feel sorry for myself and I don't have a partner. And, I know now I'm a widow. When my husband was alive, it wasn't like when he was alive, I felt, if I'm not feeling taken care of by God, I'm not feeling taken care of. In fact, in a relationship, it could often be harder because you have expectations of the other person. It's certainly, all you married people on the line or people with partners, we know you don't have it easier than us. We just sometimes have the illusion that perhaps you do. We've all been with partners and been very alone, right, Kirsty?
Yes. And do you know what line's come into my head out of the book, Karen? I'm trying to find it in the book. I think it's on page 87 or 86. We must not drift into morbid reflection. That's coming to me. We must not, like a clear-cut direction.
Yes.
We must not drift.
Even if I've yelled, I've smacked, I've lost my marbles, I've, cursed, I've told someone else, must not drift. Back on track. Where's my sponsee? What can I do? Is there a soup kitchen? My country's at war. Maybe I can make some brownies for soldiers. Maybe I'm going to make a nice supper for my kids. I'm going to go cut a salad. I'm going to go exercise. Right back on track. Poor me, right back on track. Poor me. Oh. Or then I'll go visit my mom, who's aging and not well. And even there, I have to be of service. No one's my mommy, right back on track. Must not drift. We're ninjas. We're recovery ninjas. We're athletes. I don't know if any of you relate to that. But, we have to keep in top shape. We have to keep, we don't have that luxury. We must smash the illusion that we're like other people, Poor me, right back on track. We have to just keep ourselves in shape. Like we don't have that luxury. And it's not that I'm so disciplined. It's that I'm so undisciplined. I need God to discipline me. And I'm clear today that it will kill me, whether physically or spiritually or emotionally. I'm super clear that going pour me. I know the AAs say pour me a drink. But I know that will kill me or drive me nuts and take me out of the game real fast. One last comment on that, Kirsty, and then we'll wrap up.
So under that line, it's on page 86. But we must be careful not to drift into worry, remorse, or morbid reflection. And then underneath it tells us something which I think is really special. It tells us why we mustn't. For that would diminish our usefulness to others. And that's what I'm here for today, to be useful to others, to be helpful to others. So I haven't got time to be resentful at myself or victim. I must not, because it would diminish my usefulness. I've been given purpose today. God has given me this life, this second chance at life, brought back from death, the gates of death. Like I can't, because that would diminish my usefulness to others. And my purpose today is to be of maximum use to others and God.
That is her job. That is my job. That is our job. And that means we must not drift. Right before this call, I was shopping. I had like a bunch of gift certificates that you could take to a bunch of stores, and I bought about $500 worth of stuff. And I was at the cash register ready to pay, and I said, "Oh, I have gift certificates." It says, "We haven't taken those for years." And I was like, "Oh." So I was like, "Okay, but I must not drift. I can't get angry. I can't get upset. Either I'm going to pay for it with my cash, or I'm going to say, oh, okay, I don't have a credit. Well, I'm putting everything back on the shelves. I don't have the luxury to start fighting with people about the state of the affairs, getting into my, little plans and designs, as the big book says. Must not drift, because my job is to be maximal usefulness. I got to get on my podcast. See, that keeps me in check. I got to get on my podcast, and there are often tech issues and Zoom issues and WhatsApp issues. And and other people are, just human, like myself. And so that's it. I wish you all, I bless you all with a beautiful day, that you should all be of maximum usefulness, maximum helpfulness to your higher power, your families, your coworkers, all those around your communities. Thank you so much, Kirsty, for all that you do. You are for sure helpful to me and for so many others in recovery around the world. Thank you all. Feel free to check out Reco12.com. Lots of great resources there. Amazing podcasts. We've got Noodle Out with Nikki. We've got the weekly Reco12 podcast and tons of other stuff. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you so much, Karen, for your service. Amazing. And thank you for being my good friend. God grant us the serenity to accept the things we cannot change, the courage to change the things we can, and the wisdom to know the difference. Thy will, not mine, be done. Amen.
Amen. You all have a good day.
Standing still a moment, carving out this time, reflecting on the landscape of this life of mine. Peaks too high to conquer, streams too wide to cross, troughs too deep to walk through without incurring loss. Yet here I am, still standing tall, despite the rough terrain. One like me survived the storms and walked through wind and rain. Still standing, I will fight the good fight, still searching for glimmers of light, feet still on the ground. I can still be found, standing still.
My wings are torn and tattered, but I know I still can fly. I may not soar unfettered, I may not rise too high.
Recorded in the book of life and binded with the seal that I am bowed and broken, I am standing still.
Only God knows where the path of life will yet lead me. I do not even ask to know, I do not need to see.
It is enough to know that I'm loved and not alone. And with those truths, I thankfully march into the unknown. Still standing, I will fight the good fight. Still searching